tourism, construction, bankruptcy, and new businesses. And yet these people decided, I will not focus on trying to work on raising money for myself or for my business, but instead I want to build a community. A little bit of a teaser from each speaker. Should I mention Mark if he's here? He's not here yet. I'm just going to mention two speakers. So we have Daniel Elber, who from 2004 started the project in Muntigunung, one of the poorest areas of Bali. And I'll be honest, I'm from here. I'm from Bali. I've never heard of Muntigunung ever. So I'm guilty. I'm guilty of being a Balinese who has no idea about what's happening outside of Canggu. You know, Canggu, south of Bali. This is my village. This is what I do. This is all I know. The second is Wayan Wardika, who is the chief of tourism for Desa Taro. Is chief of tourism, head of tourism, same, for Desa Taro. And same thing again. He started this project in 2018. This was before COVID. 2018, personally for me and my family business, was one of the highest, most profitable years we've ever had in business. And it was during this most profitable year in business that Wayan Wardika said, no, I want to start a community. So that it shows a lot. And actually he went into the news because during that time there was an article titled "From Cruise Ship Employee to Building an Organic Village in Taro." It was so special, so different than what every Balinese person was doing. He was in the news. You know, it's pretty incredible. For those who are joining, thank you again. This is part of the monthly Bali Pledge webinar where we invite speakers, people, human beings to share their story. First, to inspire us because, hey, during COVID, we all are feeling down, and to also guide us, to give us advice. Who else to give us advice than the people who've done it themselves? All right. And now I'm going to first hand it over to Alex from the Bali Pledge, who's going to share a little bit what this Bali Pledge is all about. Alex, you have the floor.
Hi guys, very happy. Let me just check that everything is working on the technology side. Sorry. Up, I need to be added there. Okay. Situations we can complain and wait for things to happen to us. We can embrace the change and embrace what is happening and say, yay, this is great, whatever the situation is. And this is really what my intention with the Bali Pledge was to, make the most of the current situation. And maybe it is an opportunity to redefine the kind of tourism we want to attract in Bali. Maybe it's an opportunity to redefine how we want to operate as residents, locals, travelers, and come together. Because at the end of the day, we are really one community. And really, that's really the intention. Now, so many people are doing amazing things on their own path. And the idea with the Bali Pledge and with those Bali Pledge webinars, amazingly managed by Krishna, was to really bring us together, check in with each other, and just have, a little bit of sense that we're not alone. We can support each other. We can be there for each other. And at the end of the day, hopefully, we will come out on the other sides more connected, more in our bodies, and happier. So thank you so much for trusting us, for coming to this webinar. It's all live on Facebook, so feel free to share it in your groups. And with that, I give it back to Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. So just in case you don't know, we have the website Bali Pledge, and you pledge that you will support Bali in the philosophy of HITA KARANA, which is the respect from human to human, human to the environment, and human to God, to higher being, and focus here on culture. Today we have two speakers. Actually, we had three speakers, but I can't see Mark Reed here anywhere, and I hope he joins us soon. He said he would join. He said he would. But nonetheless, we'll start with a little breakdown of this webinar. It's 1 hour and a half. The first 30 minutes is a get to know each speaker. The next 30 minutes is a panel discussion between the speakers. And the final 30 minutes, it's a group discussion. For those who are just logging in right now, we happen to have key community growers, people who started a community way before COVID, people who had the struggles. And today we get to learn a bit, what does it take to build a community? Earlier before this webinar, in the pre-webinar, 5 minutes before, I was talking to Daniel Elber, and I was saying that, hey, I was also building a community in Canggu. And I said it's similar to building a community in Muntinggunung, right? It's the same thing. You got the community, you got the activities. And we talked about the difficulty. And then I was like, okay, wait, Canggu and Muntinggunung must be different in that way. Because in Canggu, people love tourism. We're close to a tourism hotspot. And of course, Canggu is known for a place to in majority have vegan restaurants, very health oriented people. Now, what happens when you are in one of the poorest regions of Bali, which is called Muntinggunung, where when you're talking about reforestation, you're talking about sustainable tourism, the future of their well-being, how does that translate when people are are known to be beggars, when they're living day to day, even not even day to day, hour by hour? They don't know if they might survive the next few hours. So what does it take, and who else to tell us a little bit about the project than Daniel Elber? Daniel, you have the floor. Say hi to everybody.
You need to unmute yourself, Daniel.
Unmute, unmute.
Hey, now, hello to everybody. I hope you're hearing me.
Yeah.
I'm glad to give you some information about Muntinggunung, and I have to make it very clear, it is not Canggu. So where is Muntinggunung? Muntinggunung is on the north side of Bali at the ridge from the mountains surrounding Lake Batur. It's an area of 28 square kilometers with around 36 small villages, a total population of about 6,500 people. And the community, when I arrived there in 2003, was only known by its beggars, because most of the beggars in Bali, in the south, and even here in Ubud, they're all coming from this area. And that has a reason why they are coming from this area. This area has no water during at least 8 months of the year, starting from middle of April until maybe middle of December, when the rainy season starts. There is no rain coming over the mountains. And in this area, there is no water source, no springs, no rivers, nothing. So people who are living there in altitudes between 200 and 800 meters above sea level, they have to walk every day for up to 5 hours to bring 10 liters of water to their house. If you're walking 5 hours and you have to bring 10 liters of water to your house, that's not enough, because the families are usually 6 to 8 people. That means the women are walking 4 to 5 hours together with their children. And if you have to walk 4 to 5 hours every day to get there, a lot of productive time is lost and a lot of energy. That's the first point, the lack of water, no access to water. The second point is the people were not registered. That means they had no ID card. That means they had no access to medical services. They had no access to hospitals. People were malnourished. 33% of all the children when we started were malnourished, and most of the adults were malnourished. And to be malnourished means you have smaller brains, and you cannot compensate it when you're getting an adult by having a good food intake. So the people are really disadvantaged. Not not having water, not having access to medical services, child mortality rate of 9% up there when we started. No education. It's clear you are not registered, you are not going to school, you have to carry water and you go begging in order to bring a little bit money together. So illiteracy, people up there, they do not speak Bahasa Indonesia, they only speak Bahasa Bali. This is more or less, if you put it together, a whole circle, a whole bunch of problems these people are facing. And when I first arrived in Bali, 2003, I met these beggars in Ubud and in the south of Bali, asking questions, because for me, begging cannot be part of the Balinese culture, because the Balinese culture is so family and so village oriented that for me, begging just didn't fit the picture I had. And I was asking until I found out that they are all coming from this area, Muntigunung, an area which Krishna just said that he's never heard a word about it. Now, going up there and seeing with my own eyes, I realized that these people which were living up there are really in a very desperate situation. They are not in a life-threatening situation, but in a desperate situation. That's a difference. They still can get a little bit food, they still can survive, but it's a fight for survival every day. A fight for money, a fight for water, because that keeps them alive. So when I saw this, I decided, I was here in Bali only for 1 year. In the meantime, it's 17 years. The plan changed radically. I decided in a matter of a moment to organize help. But I used to be a banker before, not a development expert. Means that it's a nice decision, but it's a very naive decision to have the feeling that it's possible to do something in such an area. But I at least realize that it's difficult and that I need the best professional help necessary in order to really start doing up something. And I was talking to many different people in Bali, in Indonesia, and in my country, in Switzerland, and ended at least in Yogyakarta, the offices of Yayasan Desa, I would say one of the most well-reputed organizations in Indonesia. And I had a talk with the boss there, with Anton Suryarwo, who was Social Entrepreneur of the Year, I think 2009 in Indonesia. A very, very wise and very clever man. And he listened to me and said, look, let's go up there and have a look. And we flew to Bali the next day. And he said, when having looked into the situation, having discussed with many people, he said to me, look, it's for sure possible to start organizing help for these people. But before we do anything, we need to make a thorough assessment. We need to understand the problem of the population out of the eyes of the people, out of the eyes of the local government, out of the eyes of everybody around them, be it ethnologists, be it geologists, in order to really dig deep and go to the roots of the problem of the population. So before we started anything, he brought 3 people from Yogyakarta up to Muntigunung, spending there more than half a year in order to make this thorough assessment of the situation. They come up with a book, about 120 pages, making it very clear where the problem lies. And this book was, in a way, the start for activities, because the book made it very clear where the problems are. And the book made it very clear with what strategic objectives one could change long-term the development of the population up there. Only 4 objectives, only 4 measurable ones. The first one is providing a sustainable water supply for each each person in Montegono of at least 25 liters per head per day. This is enough to drink. This is enough for personal hygienic measures. It's enough for washing and for cooking. It's not enough for irrigation. That has to be understood. 25 liters per head per day. But this objective is relieving the people from the pain they have to organize the water every day for 4 to 5 hours, and is bringing back productive time for the people. The second objective is to create one job per family. And remember, it's about 1,500 families up there. One job per family means the objective is to create 1,500 jobs up there, with a minimum income of around $100 in order to bring them above the poverty line and to enable the families to create a good nutrition for the children. So one job per family with a certain income. The third objective is to reduce the child mortality rate by 50%. That means already assuring that the coming generation has much better starting conditions than the past, specifically containing malnutrition. And the fourth objective, to assure an adequate education of all the children. So water, income and jobs for the adults, reduction of child mortality rate and improvement of health, and education for all the children. These four objectives have been our path to development for Montegono since we started 2004.
Daniel, before we go to
now, if you
before we jump into the updates of the objectives,
yeah.
I'd like to just discuss a little bit about your previous background. You were a Swiss banker, and did you know that by doing this project, you eventually would sort of let go of your past life? Because that's not something. What I'm trying to say is, being Swiss is to many a privilege. To be a Swiss banker is considered a very prestigious job. When you first saw the beggars in Bali, and I mean, most people, including myself, when we see a beggar, I don't give them any money, but I don't also try to figure out a solution. I'm saying, don't be begging in Bali. What are you doing? But you took the extra step. Actually, you took many extra steps to not only ask them why they're begging, but you went to visit where they were coming from, and you tried to figure out a solution by collaborating with other people. Was there a moment where you thought to yourself, if I do this, there will be no going back? Was there a moment where you were hesitating or thinking, is this what I want to do? Because it would have been much easier if you had given some donation fund to a nonprofit in Bali and then continue with your life and felt good about yourself. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that also. But you took the biggest step. Do you want to share, or can you share that moment when you're like, this is happening. I'm letting go of my past life and I'm jumping into something. Do you remember the moment? Was there a specific moment, or was there an emotion that you felt?
No, I think the main point was that I already left Swiss banking before I came to Bali. That was a very clear decision, because I came to the conclusion during my last years in banking that the culture of these banks has changed so dramatically that this culture didn't fit anymore to my personality. And I realized at the same time that I still had to work about 15 years in order to get an orderly pension. So I took 1 year off to come to think about my personal future. And it led me to Bali. And in Bali, I met these beggars. And the lives of these people touched me. Because, as you said before, I mean, I was so privileged as a Swiss. I had a very good upbringing. And I was living in a country where social security, where insurance, where work and jobs, everything is here, is laid out on the table. And I come to Bali and I meet these beggars. And during the first time I was here in Bali, I have been sitting with these beggars many hours in the streets of Ubud, not being able to talk, but still being able to communicate. You can communicate with your eyes. And for me, it was, in a way, it was never a question, never. I mean, I started it and I didn't look back. It was just going on. I know that I was not able to earn any money anymore for the last 17 years. I'm using everything I have to finance partly the project myself, to finance my living. But you see, I think now I'm privileged to be able to see the development of this work. Because whenever I go to Montigono and whenever I see 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of the 230 people who are now having sustainable work, having water, having a better life, this is much more worth than any bonus in terms of money that you can get. So my decision 17 years ago was the right one for me. Amazing. Maybe for others as well. But in the end, I think I benefited at least as much as the people in Montigono.
It's beautiful, Daniel. Do you want to share an update about the objectives and what's the latest status?
Okay. At the moment, we are in the year 2021. In 2 weeks, all the villages in Montigono are having a sustainable water supply of 25 liters per head per day. All of the villages are having, besides the water, are having a meeting point, say a Bali Banjar, a schoolhouse, or a production place, because of the way we are creating the water supply. It's sustainable because we are basing on rainwater harvesting. And this concept of rainwater harvesting is bringing it with it that in each of these 36 communities, we are producing not only water, but a community center at the same time. So every village has the water now. Every single inhabitant up there is not in a position or does not have to go walk 5 hours to get the water. They have enough for their daily needs. That's point one. The second point, go to the health before I come to the jobs. 80% of the people up there, of the adults, are now registered. And 80% of these registered people are now having a health insurance. The malnutrition, first to the hygiene, 96% of all the families are now having access to toilets. The malnutrition rate fell from 33% to 0.8%, and the child mortality rate from 9% to 0. Yeah. So beside water, concerning health, I think we've done our out that we did it not with a lot of money, but with a lot of common sense to motivate the people, and with a lot of time. And this is the other aspect. Now coming to the second objective. Yeah, you have a question, or I continue?
You were talking about the final objective, the education part.
Yeah, I mean, the second point is creating jobs and income. That's a very complicated and difficult issue because you cannot educate adult people without having them in Muntigunum because they are begging. This means you need to create education for the adults, and it means paid education, like an apprenticeship where you take the people in and teach them for a certain time how to crack cashew nuts, for example, or how to make a basket out of lontar leaves, or how to make batik, or how to create a hammock or produce a hammock. You have to teach them and you have to offer paid education so that these beggars are coming back. If they are coming back, they're coming back with their children. That's anyhow a very good aspect. Now, after this education, after about maybe 3 or 4 years of educating the people, in order to bring them to a point where they are capable of creating a product which has such a high quality that it can be sold, after that, we needed to create social enterprises, which are, in a way, creating sustainable employment for the people. And then these social enterprises are becoming the employer of the people, not my foundation or my association back in Switzerland who is pumping money into the whole process. So at the moment, we are having 3 social enterprises. One of the social enterprises is a trekking enterprise, tourism. The second social enterprise is a food enterprise. We are producing cashew nuts, Rosella products, Rosella tea, Rosella salt, Rosella sweets, Moringa products from the Moringa tree. We are producing Lontar palm sugar and dried mango. It's more or less the circle of the food products. That's the second company. And the third company is a handicraft company, where in different villages, as I said, we are producing hammocks, we are producing baskets, we are producing batik, we are producing bags, and we are adding all the time new topics. Whenever we have the feeling we are ready, logistically, we are ready from the human resources standpoint, that we are ready from the capacity of our organization to do it, we are adding the next capacity building project. And with the next capacity building project, we are bringing back a number of other beggars, which are still in the south. And
Wow.
So at the moment, there are 230 people sustainably employed.
Wow. I don't know if you had this received enough, but I want to give you a big thank you. I think from everybody here to have the commitment of 17 years is amazing. Breaking the poverty cycle. And just for you, as a reference, an average human being consumes 160 liters per day. So 30 liters is nothing, and yet it's making so much change. Daniel, thank you very much for introducing Muntigunung. I'm gonna introduce the other speakers so then we can go to the panel discussion. Let's have Wayan Wardika and Mark Reed. So Wayan Wardika is the head of tourism Desa Taro, and Mark Reed, let's call him the glue that connects the outside world to Desa Taro. And actually, when I first got recommended about Desa Taro, the person I was asked to talk to was Mark first, and then Wayan Wardika, which is kind of cool. It's like a collaboration between multiple parties. So Wayan Wardika, is that true? You were a cruise ship employee and you decided, hey, you know what? I make too much money in cruise shipping. Let's do something that makes no money and go back to my village. You want to share the story there? How did that happen?
Thank you, Krishna. Hey, everyone. I hope everybody can hear me nice and okay.
Loud and clear.
Thank you. The rain start coming, so I'm just gonna move a little bit. I'm in the middle of a rice field, so I'm gonna go into a little bit shady. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So, by the way, if you're wondering, the background of Wayan Wardika is where the Firefly village is, or the Firefly
Firefly's garden.
is. Yeah. So, yes,
Yeah.
Tell us a bit
Okay.
about your background. What was it? And I mean, 2018, the peak of tourism for Bali for many businesses. You decided that's not going to happen for me. Money making is not for me. I'm going to be anti money making.
No, no.
No, that's not the story. No, no, no. I'm
Okay.
kidding. What's the story? What's the story, Wardika?
Okay. I've seen several times on a books, on a movie, on a social media. People say life begins at 40, right? I don't know if that was right, but 2018, I was 40 and I was still on a ship. So I decided to go back to the village and try to do something. Okay, so that's when it's all begins. So yeah, I've been working on a ship for 12 years and probably have 5 to 10 years professional jobs in tourism before that in Singapore. I've been to the Maldives. Um, I've been to Australia for a couple of months. I mean, I have that
You
opportunity.
had options. You had lots of options. You had
Yeah,
lots of opportunities. It's not like you
sure,
came back to your
sure.
village with no opportunities. You literally had a big career in hospitality waiting
Yes,
for you.
yes, I think so. Yeah.
So
So then I came back. I came back to Taro village. Taro is just like 20 minutes away from Ubud. Okay, so 2018, because this is like my new life, my free time. I go back to my old times where we spend most afternoon in the river. So that is the luxury of the real Balinese children at the time. Playing in the river, playing in the rice field. It's still with my heart. But what happened now is not that pleasant anymore because the river is full of plastic and trash is everywhere. I mean, things change. Okay, so it doesn't bring back the good memories I had during my childhood. So for no reason, I just clean that river up. Okay, it happens to have a waterfall and there is a purification place also over there called Beji, like a holy water spring. Just for no reason, I just cleaned it up. Eventually, it was 3 kilometers, and then it's became trekking, river trekking, and then we bring more people to clean it up. We bring the children, not just the river, and then next step is to the temple, and then next step is to the forest. We also have a sacred forest, and then I think it's cool. And then one day during cleanup on the way up to the river, I found an ankle an uncle throwing back. Not an uncle,
if
an
you
uncle.
found an ankle, this would be probably a different story.
Yeah, just like one of an uncle throw back the plastic into the river and said, "Oh, I tried to stop, in a polite way, uncle, please do not throw the plastic." Because it's quite ironic. I just brought the plastic back from the river, and then you are throwing back. So sort of like, please do not throw to the river. And then he asked me back, okay, where should I throw it? So that was the question that struck me, and then sort of like giving me the homework that is the opportunity that I need to work on. So to make the long story short, I make a small facility called Rumah Kompos Taro. I learned at Rumah Kompos Padang Tegal at that time.
Mm.
So I learned how to manage waste locally, so it doesn't. So it's a good, sustainable, and giving benefit for the nature, for the environment, as well as for the human being. So then, yeah, with my small savings, I lease a 17 years land, 20 aro of land, and then I made a small building. I remember I even sold my Avanza car and I bought a small truck, the carry, and then I modified like a small truck. So it can move, collect the trash around the village. But before that, I met David Cooper at Rotary Club. Perhaps Daniel aware of him. David
I
from
am.
the Rotary Club. Yeah, Rotary Club Bali Ubud Sunset. So he's giving me sort of like ways how to expedite the decomposition process from the waste. And then I also involve the president of Bali Ubud Sunset, Mr. Brian Goldman, and Ibu Tika to sort of like backing me up for education process, because I know when I involve the bule, it's gonna get a better attention, you know. So I don't go normal way. I go a
It's
little
not
bit.
fair, but it's true.
Uh,
It's true. It's a good point. Yeah.
it's yeah. So yeah, we collect we do the education with the Rotary Club, with some friends who happen to be bule. We go to schools, we go to households. Our main objective is to separate the waste, because
Mm.
I'm gonna collect them. Okay.
Mm.
So because to answer the first question, where should I bring it? So it may not go into the river, so I have to have that place. So that's why I created a small facility called Rumah Kompos Taro, where we can use the organic waste into compost, and then the non-organic we can do for something else. We're gonna figure it out later. So yeah, so it's to make the long story short, the education went well. It started with 24 families, and then it grew up to 200 families at that time, within, I don't know, maybe less than a year. And then the Rotary Club involved more a foundation to back
Mhm.
my program at the Taro at the time, at Rumah Kompos Taro. And then we met a foundation called Bumi Sasmaya, and I met a gentleman by Shah Nino. Okay, oh
Ah,
Wayan, we can go much bigger, you know, like, I mean, we can go bigger, but we need to get the support from the government or the village, you know, the desa at this time. Or if we can bring this under the boom desk, is even better. So, but the problem is you're gonna lose business. And I said, oh, it's fine. So then we remember at that time we were begging, you know, to make this program happens under the roof of the government,
mm.
because I have no I spend my own money to make this, you know, try to educate this, but now you are the right institution to do this. We may help you with the funding. We will be there to support you, to follow up with the process and everything, and it works. The government agreed in 2019, December 2019. They all agreed, and then 2020 we start the project. So it's true. I lost my business because it's all managed under Taro Bumdes.
So
I mean,
now,
it's good.
so now it's
That's,
all under the boom desk. Oh, so I
yeah.
mean, what for me when I heard your story, what well the Desa Taro story, because every village always has a feel good story about cleaning up the waste or uh, waste separation. But why do you think the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, and his name is Sandiago Uno, why
Okay.
did he make the Sataro part of the Wonderful Indonesia program? Because this is a pretty big deal. It really elevates Desa Taro unlike any other village for the fact that it's recognized by
Okay.
Indonesia.
Okay. So
Was
the
this
story will get into there. Yeah.
is it,
Yeah. The
is it
story.
did
Yeah.
Mark
It
Rita
will get into there in a
this?
moment. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because we were successfully do the education process to the community, which is now 2,500 families, and everybody sort their garbage at their houses, and then we make a good system with this facility where the only organic coming one way, the non-organic going to the other way. So that we have a nice a holistic schedule of program, which is managed in a local what you call in a local level, in a village level. So I mean that is what is amazing. So and this process, it doesn't take long. In Rumah Kompos Padang Tegal take up to 12 years to make it successfully perfect with Pak Supardias Morobangun. So we can make it less than 2 years because of the support of the people, the support of the government, and the support of the Bumi Sasmaya. And with me, part of the village, it makes even make the process much faster. So what is done after the compost is that this is what is interesting. We then next step is once we're done with the environment, we have to educate the farmers. So next we have a lost pile of compost. We also have a holy white cows here, which produce 250 kilograms of fresh kodang every day. It's a good it's a good thing, you know. It's a good,
Kodang apa tuh? Kotoran hewan ya?
yeah, kotoran hewan is a good
So
holy
kodang
shit.
is cow manure. Yeah.
Yeah, cow manure. Yeah, because excuse my word, because holy white cow itself is a holy, so the manure is a holy shit. So it could be good for the nature. So for the first time, we have a nice, good, useful holy shit for the nature that we can put for our agriculture system. So now we educating the farmers to use them for their rice field, to use them for the garden, to use them for the vegetables. And it's for free because it's from our compost. We enhance the level of the compost with the manure. So it's a nice, good, perfect uh, natural fertilizer. So we can control the use of pesticide, chemical substance into the nature. What does it do? It rebalance. It makes the soil better. It's rebalance the ecosystem. It regenerate the
The
animal. You know, we
microorganisms.
call it
Yeah.
biota. So one of
Mm.
them is the fireflies. So we are having a lots of more fireflies, dragonflies, butterflies. Automatically, we have now more eels in the environment. So I mean, it's a good sign. So from tourism perspective, I use what is the local genius as part of the attraction, the fireflies garden. And then people now coming just to see the fireflies. And the minister would love to see the fireflies by himself. So that's the whole story that makes it interesting, how the trust that can connect into tourism through the fireflies. I think that's what makes his coming.
Nice. Well, that's like I said, I'm half jealous, half impressed. The fact that to have a village like Desa Taro so close to home, and to say, now I can say, hi, I know Wayan Wardika, I know Mark Reed. Let's give a bit of time to Mark Reed before the 3 o'clock mark, because and you said so yourself, sometimes when you have a collaboration, it blows up to the next level. When you work alone, you go here. When you work with multiple people, it goes up here. And you mentioned a lot of amazing people. I know Sean Nino, his house is in Perenan also, and I can definitely agree that I'm a big fan. I could be his groupie. I'm like his number one fan on his ability to think big. So that's amazing. Mark, thank you for joining. You came in a tiny bit late, but that's okay. That's okay. So, when I first heard about you, Mark, I just thought, hey, it's just some random guy in Taro who wants to support it. But the more I did some research about you, about your ability to collaborate, it's like, okay, there's more to it. And now Wayan Wardika's like, hey, collaboration makes the wheels spin. What for you makes Desa Taro so special? Or do you want to share first a bit about yourself to the
Yeah,
audience?
I'd love to. Let's start with, can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you, yes.
So a little bit about me. I fell in love with Bali very, very early in my, maybe 20 years ago. I came here a couple of times. Every time I left Bali, I felt like I was leaving a girlfriend behind. I finally found out that I needed to stay in Bali. Bali was a calling of mine. Bali was going to ease a lot of the stress in my life, and I was going to learn a lot of things here. That was just something I already knew that was going to happen. And then I moved here with an idea of maybe 2 months. After the 2 months, I actually broke my back in 4 places and ended up staying here for another 18 months on my back in body brace. So I was unable to leave. But if I fast forward, a lot of the things that happen in Bali, and we'll all relate to this, a lot of things that happen to Bali are literally exactly what we need. Bali has a gift, or gives you gifts. You might not like to have your back broken in 4 places so that you can actually receive a message. But I actually needed it. And only Bali could have given me the opportunity to grow within 18 months with a broken back and absolutely no mobility. I started becoming very aware of Bali's intention to groom me to become part of its actual universal plan. And it wasn't, and it was amazing for me. The universe didn't revolve around me. Oh my God. It actually had its own plan.
Surprise.
And so Bali's given me the opportunity to actually listen more intuitively to things that are resonating with me, which made me feel a lot more secure, a lot more at home, and also a lot more empowered. And cut a long story short, I met Wayan Wardika maybe 4 months ago now, through a mutual friend that has a tourism academy and a hospitality academy, which I like to give some time to and be part of their little community. And I was going through a lot of transformation myself. I used the time that I'm here in Bali to try and tap into local community efforts that I feel grounded in or that really resonate with me. And so when I was taken to go and see Wayan Wardika, I was literally hijacked, which is the way that Bali always takes you. It hijacks you. You don't know why you're going somewhere, but if you pay attention, it will reveal itself. There's always a very, very a legitimate reason for Bali to tell you to shut up, sit down, enjoy the ride, and start taking notes. And for me, that's exactly what I did. I'm like, I don't know where we're going. I don't know why. I've got so many things to do. I've got so many people I could have actually seen. What the hell am I doing looking at holy shit in the middle of a forest for? What the hell? And you know what?
Those who are just tuning in, we're saying holy shit because it's the cow manure that's from the cows in Desa Taro. It's probably the only time that I think it's okay to say that word during this webinar. So
yeah, it's actually no sacrilege. It's disrespect. They are actually holy cows, and we're using their manure. Anyway, for those who have been here the whole time, I'll continue. So here I am looking at Wardika and his holy shit and his incredible cows and his amazing vision, and I'm starting to take myself out of it a little bit further and actually channeling into how incredible his vision was, incredible how far he's come, how much support he's gained, and how pure his motivation is. And it was something not only amazing as far as a project is concerned, but I found a new mentor. I found somebody who inspires me, who understands what it's like to match the ground, the people, and your love of each other, all in the one, through HITA KARANA, all in one. And it was through him that I actually learned that properly. So he's not somebody that likes the limelight, doesn't want to put too much emphasis on himself. But unfortunately, Wayan Wardika, you have no choice because you are now gaining fans. And you have an incredible vision that I just want to surrender to whatever I need or whatever I can be of assistance to. And I implore anybody who is in a position to take notes from him, to go up and visit Taro, and to adopt and to share, because I think we're on the cusp of seeing so much incredible impact. I'm sorry, Wayan Wardika, you're about to be a rock star of ecosystems.
Rock star. That's right.
Rock star.
Well, let's talk a bit about the whole projects. And I know I said 30 minutes only for introductions, but we're already going to the second part, which is the panel discussion. I'll just mix it up straight away. Let's talk a bit about some challenges. Don't we all love to hear challenges? Now, I'll also open it to the audience if you want to chip in or chime in some question or ask a thing. There was one thing I have to ask before I forget about it. I was talking with Sean Nino, and he's saying one of the biggest conflicts today for Bali, especially, or Indonesia, is that the whole war between chemical fertilizers and organic fertilizers. The government is subsidizing chemical fertilizers, is one thing. And second thing, some farmers don't want to use organic fertilizer. They don't know how to use it, they don't understand it, and some just don't want to use it. So I'm just super curious, how was it that you could convince the village of Taro to use organic fertilizers? What's the story there? Unmute.
Okay, sorry. It's for me, right? The question for me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Exactly, that is the challenge. Okay, I talked earlier with Mark Reed, and yeah, I met also another mentor, Andy, talking about what do you call it? A big company for the medicine. What do you call it?
Kimia Pharma.
Yeah, I mean those institutions that
Right.
makes money from the drugs and medicine and everything. I believe it's the same thing with the fertilizer. You know, all these big companies, they have products to be spread, you know, to supporting the farmers. I mean, it's great. Indonesia lands is need them, okay, because they are focusing on the quantity, because the soil itself, like I think Daniel mentioned earlier, you plant anything, it grows in most of the Bali's land. Okay, I mean, yes, we need fertilizer, but sometimes it's excessive. It's too much. Way is too much, and it kills things. It kills the microorganism. What is in the in the soil? It makes a lot of contamination into the water. So sometimes the balance is not there anymore. Now this this company, they have agenda to sell their product, and they go through government. Okay? Once they go through government, they give tons or 400, 100 or millions tons of fertilizer to be distributed, and it goes through government. And then we also have a suba system, which is also attached to that fertilizer. So they give you fertilizer, subsidized fertilizer. It's just like giving you things for free. If you don't get it, you lose it. Some
Right.
people don't want to lose things. Okay, they know it's be harmful when they use it too much, but if you don't get it, it's still bad for you. So people want it. So
It's a human thing. It's like if we don't use it, then we lose it. You know, so
yeah.
it
So
doesn't matter
now
if it's
I
good or
think,
bad.
yeah, the agenda is like how we can all learn from the mistakes that we've done, because in some area they cannot grow anything for the excessive use of the fertilizer. So I'm pushing to be back to the natural substance. It doesn't mean we don't need it anymore, but in a more controllable way, because when we use it too much, it's gonna kills the soil itself. Because Simon said soil is the soul, right? So once we kill the soil, it's kill our soul itself. So we need to use a more eco-friendlier way to regenerate the quality of the soil by using the local resources, which is around us, the compost.
And it sounds so simple. You know, use what is natural. Use what is available. So I was just curious. How is it that Desa Taro, out of all the villages, somehow has agreement from the farmers to use organics?
Right
That
now we cannot go. I'm sorry, I cut you there. Right now we cannot go like massive. What we can do, like for example, here at the Fireflies Garden, we can educate like 5 or 6 farmers to stop using the fertilizer, the pesticide, to use the natural. It's gonna go slow because then the soil itself also need to readjust themselves to cope. Well, because it's for decades they see chemical already. So now right
so
now we cannot just
it's a work
stop
in
and
progress.
suddenly do, yeah. So we need to what do you call it, assimilate you know, slowly until one day we don't need them anymore.
Right.
So it takes time. It's a process.
Okay. So it's still in the progress to change from chemical to organic. Okay. Daniel, do you have any experience? Because we're talking about, you know, the relationship between community members and other community members, and government and the community. Do you have any stories? Because you mentioned that now that 85% are registered, you now have government help. Some have insurance. Some are getting health care, for example. Is it all a good story? Is it all positive, or is there something that you want to share about this?
Yeah, I mean, shall I say, the relationship to the government is or was always somehow shaded because of there is some sort of corruption in nearly everything which is being done. And we decided at the very beginning, we are just not part of this system. I cannot raise funds in a country and be responsible for the spending of the funds and being involved in any corrupt activities. And we had some experiences already at the beginning of this project when we started with building water projects or these water projects in 4 villages, when we suddenly heard that the Muntigono was walking around to the villagers and telling them that if they are delivering sand to us, to the Yayasan, to the project team, in order to support the projects, to have the material there, that they should increase the prices for the sand by 50% and deliver the 50% to him as practice. So that was my first experience in how it's being done in Indonesia. So we said, okay, stop. Let's make a meeting with all the representatives of all the 36 villages. We sat together, we explained to them that we are having an agreement. The Yayasan, which helps, with all the villages up there. And the agreement was very clear that they are providing the material. We are paying for the raw material at fair prices, that as much money as possible is staying in Muntigono, but they have to provide some sort of work. And the way we collaborate has to be very transparent. And we explained to them that this is not the way we agreed upon, that they are now having 2 options. Option 1 is accepting what is being done or how they are working together with us. That would probably be the worst option for them, because the next day we would pack and go. And the option 2 would be that they discuss once again about the agreement we have made between us and them, and to come to a conclusion how they want to go forward. And it took them 6 months, and I think at least 6 further meetings until they decided to throw the Kepala Desa out and to start working with us.
Wow.
On the terms and conditions we discussed. It was necessary. It was necessary, this step, because it makes it very clear how we are working together.
Yeah, and it's almost unfair, you know, when I talk to the panelists today, to kind of summarize what they have been doing for such a long time in such a short time. You know, how do you try to convey that kind of persistence to continue what you're doing day after day for multiple years? Let's give it a bit of from the audience. Does anybody have any questions to the speakers who are thinking of having a community or are already in the middle of building a community and have any questions or about a tourism village? Johnny, I see you. Your video is on. If you have a question, put your video on. Don't be shy. Let's do it. Yes, Johnny.
Hi, Wayan. I really love what you're doing. I think it's fabulous, and we've been growing organic rice for 10 years and haven't managed to convince any of the locals to do likewise, because we're using organic seed, so we can only get 2 crops a year. What sort of seed are you using? Are you using the heritage seed or organic seed or the Serang 64, or what are you using?
First of all, thank you so much, Johnny. Mark did take me to Bali Eco Stay. It's wonderful there. I took my wife last time over there.
Okay.
During a quick retreat. It's amazing. Yeah. So you have the same challenge because the local already have that pattern, you know, with the chemical. So we you addicting to something. Once you don't have it, you should like, no, we cannot grow with it. Yes, Serang 64, because what we have in the market, we use that one. Because organic is basically, it's not the seed itself, it's just how you treat them. We sort of like try minimizing the use of the chemicals. Anything can grow, but now the project, it's already developed back into the Desa Pak. So I persuade the head of the my Kepala Desa to allocate a small funding that can subsidize some farmers if they want to plant things organic. We're gonna give them the seed, we will give them the compost, we will give them the pupuk cair, and we will also provide them with a consultation free. So right now we have like 2.8 hectares of land that is set for organic as a pilot project. The same with the compost way, we sort of like try to, because we know normally we have 3 crops a year, now they have only 2. So there is some loss margin over there. We don't want them to take that risk of loss margin. So we're going to take care of that loss margin. But we cannot go much because it's the beginning. So we have like 5 or 6 farmers now, preferably the poor family, because the Desa also have a system in regards to the SDGs, you know. We want to prioritize the poor families or Rumah Tangga Miskin, RTM. We have 165 of them, so we are focusing on them. And then we also, if they have the land, we want their land to be grown organically. We supplies all their needs. Plus, we provide consultation. There is organic expert, like put it that way. But for some farmers, if they want to do it for, voluntarily to grow organic, like for example, in the Fireflies Garden, we have 6 farmers. So that is not part of the government, but they do it because they know it's good for the nature. They know it's good for their health. They do it voluntarily. So this is our first time grow. And if you see, it's probably just 2 weeks old. So it's still small. We use the same seed what we are having right now in the market. We want to use the Bali, the brown rice, the Baliaga, but we want to start with the simple one first, and then we're gonna see how it works. But the most important is how we can rebalance the use of the chemical, or as much as we can, we don't use them. Because we also accompanied by an expert of how to do it. So we can do it step by step, slow by slowly. If it has a good impact, so then we can match in for more farmers. So that's the whole idea.
Fabulous. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah, so actually one of the questions everybody, you know, are always curious about when anything is happening is what's the profit like? You know, what's for Muntigunong and Desa Taro, how is the profitability of those projects? Do any of you want to share, Daniel or Wayan, about Desa Taro? Is like the BUMDES happy? You know, for Muntigunong, is the tour still open? Are you still able to receive customers? What's the latest updates happening right now during COVID?
Yeah, if you're talking about Muntigunong, I think we are suffering the same as the rest of Bali, because when 80% of the economy is breaking down, you are having difficulties to find a market to sell your products. And we were under quite a pressure because we had to decide what are we going to do with 3 social enterprises who are not producing anymore, or only in a very, very small range. And we decided that we are going to subsidize, because it is absolutely essential that if you are bringing beggars back from the street and giving them security, giving them job and sustainable income, if you throw them out, like it happened with many employed people here in Bali, if you throw them out, the trust is gone forever. You cannot work with these people anymore. So we decided to subsidize the companies, to pay the salaries and keep the jobs according to 2019, the same level, the same salaries, even though the production was reduced dramatically. In trekking, we made nearly no trekking last year because there were no tourists. But that's one step where I think it's necessary that you are taking decisive steps from outside in order to protect what you have been building up for 10 years. So at the moment, these companies are not working profitable, but the potential to be profitable is huge still, because last year, during the time when we have really had difficulties in Bali to sell, we doubled the sales in Switzerland of our products. So this helped us a lot. So to change the market if it's necessary. And with the trekking, it's clear we have to wait until the people are back. And this needs a little bit persistence at the moment. But every entrepreneur has to suffer from time to time. And we are now suffering, but go up there, make at this time, go and make a trekking and go and visit these villages and see the women working still. And not only working, they are smiling, because it's the first time in their life that they are not at the end of the food list. They are in front because they all were in a position to keep their jobs. And this is building up a huge amount of trust between us and the people, between us and the population, which in the end will help us that they are going to send their children to school. Because people who never have gone to school.
Daniel, if let's say in the audience we want to help, either join a trek or buy some cashews, how would we do it? What are the steps? Do we contact your number, or do we contact the website, or how does it work? If let's say I want to go jalan-jalan, have a trek to Muntigunung, how does it work?
There is a website, muntigunung.com. You go on this website, you see all the products, you see what kind of products you can order. We are selling products in certain shops in Bali, but naturally at the moment, not too much. If I always suggest, if somebody really wants to get the feeling about Muntigunung, go and make a day trek to Muntigunung. Use the time and go and have a look. You see the water projects, you see the population creating baskets, hammocks, cashew nuts. You are getting a first-hand feeling of how this project all works together.
Can I just Google on Google Map Muntigunung? Is that the way it works? I just Google Muntigunung?
Yes, Muntigunung.com, that's the website. You go on this website, you see on the products or on the tracking where you have to register, how you have to reserve a booking. No problem at all. And we do it. We have the resources ready. So it's possible to go.
Okay, so even like if let's say sometime end of this month, I want to go there, I can just contact the website and go there.
Make a reservation. You will be picked up where you are living, and you will be brought back. And I tell you, you will be brought back and you will be inspired. That's what I bet.
What if I already have transportation? How would I do it? Can I just go there directly? Is there any rules to what I can and
No,
cannot do?
not possible. Not
Not possible.
possible.
So
No,
you
not
have
possible
to go to
because
the
now,
website. Okay.
yes, you have to do the trekking because the problem is Muntigunung, 28 square kilometers in a very, very steep mountainside, which some of the villages are not connected by road. You need to know where to go. If you just drive up, you will not find anything. So it's good if you are trusting us because we are picking you up, we bring you up there, we have guides, formerly begging women who are bringing the tourists to their villages. That's one of the jobs we are providing with this. By the way, this trekking enterprise has won a global ecotourism award 2011.
Wow.
And 2014, we were named as one of 100 projects worldwide at the Journalism Impact Day, confirming that this way of doing trekkings with formerly begging women is something very special. And this was communicated to 100 newspapers, about 50 million readers worldwide.
Wow.
And not by us, but by other people. And this is always a good thing. So
Daniel,
do
I
it.
think I'm convinced. I'm convinced.
I
I'll click
bet
on the
and I
website.
agree that you will. Okay.
I'm convinced. I'll click on the
Wonderful.
link. I'll make a
Waiting.
booking. Done deal. Done deal. But Wayan, what about you?
I'm
Desa
waiting
Taro?
for you.
Done. I made a promise publicly, so that now I will go. But Wayan, what about Desa Taro? You know, is it open to visit? Actually, before there was a question from Jero, and he's asking, what other crops are you growing organically in Desa Taro?
It is raining here. I was about to go into the garden. So downstairs we grow some. We have kangkung. Okay,
Kangkong
we have
or
some
spinach?
vegetables. Okay, we're gonna plant more things. Not just rice, but we also have the vegetables. I also got help through Mark Reed to make body. Yeah, perhaps Pak Johnny knows body. Yeah,
Oh,
to
from
learn a
Nusantara.
yes. So we the Balinese has done that like over the generations, right? But now people change, things change. We also need better visions from the expert. So body, we are hoping can help us support how to set up a permaculture garden. Okay, and then because the crops, we want to give the benefit to the farmers. Remember, we have the poor families here. We want to regenerate their income by selling this high quality, well preserved organic plants or produces to the premium market. So we don't want to sell them just any market, because we will be competing with the price, because they use fertilizer you can sell for 1,000. It takes effort to take these organic plants. Of course, we need to respect the farmers and the efforts that it may take. So I think it's normal to sell a little bit more expensive, but it's quality, it's healthy, it's eco, and it's healthy. So that's why we put body in to give us a sort of like insight, because we want to connect with the premium market. There is no point we can, we have to lose one crop just to get a nice healthy crop, and then the farmer has to suffer because they lose one crop, remember? So if we can increase the income, it doesn't have to be the quantity of the product, but it could be the quality of the product, and we get the right market, and the farmers still get the benefit out of it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Also one point,
make,
it's especially in
we don't just
permaculture.
make a nice healthy crop, but we are also taking care of the mother. Bali, bantu ayah, lindungi ibu. So we need to take care of the earth, and so then the earth produce a nice healthy product for us. So if we have a good, nice reach out market for them, we do need tengkulak. Tengkulak, the middleman that can increase the price 300-500%. So we are hoping that we can get these connections, like from the farmers to the consumers, from the farmers to the supplier, that we can good, nice, fair of a product price, because we also need to support their effort, not just to produce the product, but to also to maintain the quality of the earth.
Absolutely. But you also don't forget plants to eat. There's so many. There's like kelor and
Yep, yep,
chekondo. All those are vegetables. So if you
sure.
can elevate these local vegetables to the premium market, that's just amazing.
So
Back
we
to
are
the
looking.
question. Yeah, back to the question about Desa Taro. Is it open now? Can I just Google Desa Taro and go there, or do I have to book a trip? How does it work? How do
Oh,
I support?
you just check it because Desa Taro as a village, tourism village, is not just one destination. There are more than 11 destinations, so you can choose which ones you like. But you can visit our Instagram at Desa Wisata Taro. I think it's more sort of like representing the village. Okay, Desa Wisata Taro at the Instagram or Facebook, and then it has my number there. Okay, so you can reach out that to come at any time, especially at the Fireflies Garden. We need to know that you are coming because there are no lights. Uh, but it's beautiful because it's amazing here at night. It's
So
in the
your
middle of
number.
the
So we contact your number.
Yes, so we got a number over there.
Can Dita, can you put his number in the chat box so we can start spamming him with stuff? So we contact you, and what is the price? Is there a deal you normally offer?
Yep, in every destination. So because this is a community-based tourism, it's developed by the local community. So I'm just happen to be chief of that community-based tourism. So we empower the local to develop their resources. For example, Pak Komang here has a rice field where we are right now, but we want to enhance its rice field also for the fireflies conservation. So now it's become a fireflies garden. There is a palm forest in Taro, but it's so shady. There's nothing can grow underneath. So now we erect a camp over there. So it's become Tegal Duku camp. There is a river in the Lodsamo village. It's not just a river. There is a bamboo over there. The young people rearrange, the landscaping. It's become a Smararati cafe. It's really nice to chill out. The holy white cow. It has a rare animal, the only place in Bali. It's now become also one of the destination. All you have to do is it has like an entrance ticket. Normally it's around 5,000, and then you can support them by buying their products. Like here, there is also
what time do you normally see the fireflies? Morning,
fireflies,
night?
they start blinking at 7 o'clock. Their activities at
7
7
p.m.
o'clock.
or 7 a.m.?
PM.
7 p.m. Of course.
It's 7 p.m. Okay, whenever it's dark. Okay, because they are nocturnal animals, so they active at night and sleep at daytime. But it's good to come a little bit earlier, like 5 p.m. So you can also experience the beautiful scenery here, and then enjoying the perhaps nasi goreng or crispy ubi, nice crispy cassava with organic palm sugar. Is beautiful. You're sort of like supporting the local. It's only 10,000, but you're gonna love it. But you can also enjoying the views. You enjoying the scenery around here, and then
can I bring like a date or a girlfriend there or something? Is it
Oh,
romantic to bring a girl there?
It's even better because we can set up a romantic dinner for you guys.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
because I said like we have a small hut separated like that. That is for one couple. So you can,
Ooh.
so all you have the romantic time just for the two of you. So that's the whole idea. But we also have a good place here for the family, for a bigger group. But we have 5 hut over there, like in the middle of a rice field, and then you can enjoy the moment by yourself, by just the two of you, and then teased by the fireflies. You're gonna love your spouse even much more, and then you're gonna be falling in love again.
So you heard it here from Wayan. You can bring your wife and girlfriend, hopefully not at the same time, and romantic evening. How much would it cost me if I brought a girl there? Because I'm very budget conscious at all times. How much would it cost me?
Right now, we have 2 packages. Yeah, it's like a snack package. It's only 25,000. Yeah,
What?
you get
Okay.
25,000. You get nice crispy ubi with organic palm sugar, with a choice of tea or coffee, And then this is Corona price, yeah, Corona price. We have 100,000 with dinner.
Really? 100,000
Yeah,
dinner.
100,000. It's with the nasi campur. It's made of. You can pick up fresh the vegetable yourself if you come earlier, and then the ibu here will make it into sayur urap, and then they will make you also sambal mata accompanied your dinner with, and then if you a non-vegetarian, we have ayam. Ayam, and then
Chicken, right?
tahu and tempe. If you are vegetarian, we can cook more tofu and tempe for you.
You have fish. Is there like a fish option?
Fish, you need to catch it yourself first.
I'm a bad
we have
fisherman. Can
yeah.
somebody help me catch a fish?
That's our next. We're gonna have a duck also very soon, but you know, I think now is not the moment for that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We have a very
Wow.
limited option, but it's good.
You know,
I mean,
as soon as you said it's a romantic evening, I was like, it's gonna cost a lot of money. But for 100,000 a dinner, Desa Taro, you go there with your fiance or girlfriend or mistress or whatever. No judgment there. No judgment. Go there.
I said
That
it's
sounds like an
Corona price.
amazing. It's Corona
Corona
price.
price. It's temporary price. It could be 1,500,000. We never know.
Wow. Okay. But again, I want to visit Desa Taro also. I will bring my my special someone. I have to figure out who that person is right now because I'm single, so I have to see who that is. But I will bring somebody. But of course, if I come alone, it's not going to be awkward, right? If I go alone, can I go as a single solo traveler? No problem. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
you can do that. It's, yeah, you can. The romance is not for couples. It's even for yourself. I saw. Let me share you one experience. There was a lady by the age of 70 something years old. When she showed the fireflies and she cried. She got very become emotional because it brings her back 70 years back, where she can easily see fireflies in her village. Now she lives in a town and she doesn't see fireflies for such a long time. It brings back all those good memories, and she cried and so happy for being here. You're gonna have that moment.
Really? Wow.
It's
And
amazing.
any day, right? There's no off
Any day.
days. Okay.
Any day.
Okay.
So far, the fireflies don't have any working days yet. So yeah.
Not yet, not yet. What about the Daniel for Muntigunung? Is the trek on specific days and times, or is it usually every day is possible?
Every day is possible. We are making only 2 trekkings a day. We are not mixing groups. The biggest group size is 10. So that are the rules, because we want to control the inflow of the people. It needs to stay sustainable. We do not want to press the area out like a lemon, which is being done in the rest of Bali or in many places like Bali. Problem is that Muntigunung has been, come on.
Sorry to cut you out. I was just curious, how much would it cost to visit Muntigunung to support the project?
With the trekking, 1.2 million.
1.2 million. Okay.
Transport, breakfast, lunch, water, guides, product testing, coconuts, rosella tea, everything is included.
So it's a one-day trekking basically.
It's a one-day tour. You are being picked up in either Ubud or in the south at 5 o'clock in the morning or at 6, and you will be brought back around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock.
Do you have any
Wonderful
kind
experience.
of deals for hotels or restaurants who want to be on a commission basis? Do you have any of those kind of agreements happening right now?
Only with incoming agents, the big ones, who are organizing round trips in Bali. With them, we have special arrangements. They pay around 60,000, 70,000 less per person.
Okay, okay. So not a big difference. Okay. So now we're ending the last.
So you
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
Daniel.
it's
Please
okay.
finish. Please finish. No, I was just saying that we're gonna be ending the webinar soon, and if you could have some closing remarks from both you, Daniel, and Wayan, and maybe from the audience also. Please, Daniel, you can go first. What are your messages for the community? You know, anything. It's you have the next 1 minute for yourself.
Okay. What I realized when doing this work in Muntigunung, if you really make sustainable development, it takes time. It takes time, takes passion, and it takes persistence. You cannot give up when you are in the middle of a process. Don't try to make quick fixes. Quick fixes never work. The population needs to be involved. And for me, this is the most important issue. And everything else, if you're really looking for a high quality in what you're doing, be it the trekking, be it the food products, they have to have a price, which is not a price which represents that beggars or formerly beggars are making this product, but the price represents the quality which is behind it. And I beg to Bali that this is the way in future.
Yes.
For every touristic activities, very high quality. Prefer to do less, but what you do in a very high quality.
Thank you, Daniel. Even Endra was
Thank
like,
you.
yes. Endra Satyawan is one of amazing people, one of our previous speakers. He's like, yes, yes, Daniel. What about Pawayan? Closing remarks.
First of all, thank you, Krishna, for the opportunity. Mark Reed earlier was right. I don't really fancy of getting into the spotlight, but as an agent to promote my village, I'm quite honored to be here today. So thank you so much for that. And Daniel was right. Everything that is eco-friendly, sustainable, is never gonna get easy. We as a Balinese community so used to get instant result, instant everything instant. Sometimes they don't want to go along the ways; they just want to see the result, like now. You know, I feel that. Okay, but the good thing is that I have a little bit of international insight. So then when I come back, I sort of like have a picture of out of the box thing. So we need to learn from other countries too. We as a community need to grow. We as people also need to take care of the environment as part of our philosophy. It's not just like we print it in a gold ink, three HITA KARANA, and then our behavior doesn't represent what we're doing. I as a local villagers just try to contribute what I can do best through my tourism experiences, because we also want to develop the tourism, but in a very different way, in a more eco-friendly way, where we all grow, develop. So it's become an eco-spiritual destination in our way of promoting our local culture, tradition, and resources in the community. We don't put any harm or less destruction to the mother nature and less conflict to the people, and then hopefully it provide sustainable development, not just for our generation but for also future generations. So
Thank you for
I'm
what you're
just
doing.
sort of like trying to show Bali, if the authentic sort of like real Bali in a very real life, not in a nice fancy dream where you stay in a resort. You still can do that, but I'm sort of like would like to promote more of the authenticity of my village as
Yes.
part of our tourism development in the future.
Yes.
So thank you for the
Thank
opportunity.
you, Pawayan. Thank you, Daniel. And Johnny or Endra, I see your video on. You wanna give a parting remark? Who's gonna unmute first? Andra first. Yes, go.
Yeah, first of all, it's my high respect to Daniel and Wayan Wardika for all the effort. I agree the way Daniel is arranged all the things. One thing is that it's maybe also that has been long. I speak with Wayan Wardika, and I probably very much visiting Taro like frequently. One thing that it will be for sure good for Taro if Taro is developed not for mass tourism, which mean there is be kind of the filtering system, either that somebody who coming to Taro shall not only pay for the visiting, where this mean we cannot controlling the rubbish or any uncontrolling attitude. It's supposed to be there is one package that can sustain and support the sustainability developed by Taro, because Taro is such wonderful and beautiful. I love this place really a lot. So there's been some effort for that. And the way
Couldn't have said
Taro,
it better, Andra.
Daniel arranged all the things like a specific visiting and everything. This will be kind of a suggestion for Taro arrange it. That's all, Krishna.
Thank you, thank you. It's you know we're going in the direction where mass tourism is no longer the answer. It's got to be sustainable. It's got to be somewhat controlled, making sure that we don't have too much waste. This has been the Bali Pledge webinar. We've had Wayan Wardika from Desa Taro, Daniel Elber from Munti Gunung. Thank you very much. For all the people who are joined today, thank you so much. If you did not watch the live version, watch the video. We hope to inspire you. And don't forget the wise words. It takes time. It takes time, passion, and persistence. So don't give up. Let's change Bali. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.